Traffic Homicide Unit, and the purpose of this briefing is in reference to a traffic fatality that occurred earlier today. Around 5 p.m., a Ford Fusion was occupied by 3 individuals, was southbound on Vikings Drive, trying to cross Edgewood Avenue West. When they crossed, they ran the stop sign. At that time, they struck an oncoming vehicle, a Nissan Altima, occupied by 4 passengers. As a result of the collision, the Nissan Altima collided with a Cadillac SUV that was occupied by the driver only. This time, the driver of the Ford Fusion, as well as the driver of the Cadillac, sustained life-threatening injuries, and the front passenger of the Ford Fusion was unfortunately deceased. Everybody else was transported to a local hospital where they sustained minor injuries. No one else was involved. Please keep the victim and her family in your thoughts and prayers. This marks the 57th traffic fatality in Duval County this year. As far as traffic, Edgewood Avenue is currently closed temporarily from Floridale Drive to Carnation Drive for a few more hours. And with that, I'll take any questions you might have.
Were the people in the Ford Fusion coming south on Rains, were they coming from the school?
Yes, they were coming southbound on Vikings Drive towards Edgewood Avenue.
But specifically the school, do you know?
Say that again?
Were they coming from the school, do you know?
They were coming from that road, from that direction, so I'm not sure whether they're coming from the school or from different location.
The pediatric patients, do you have an age range of how old they were?
Unfortunately, I don't. The investigation is still at its early stages. I don't even know the age of the deceased female. I don't know the ages of the other individuals involved. However, we'll be able to get that to you through the PIO when that information becomes available.
Are you able to share the condition of the victims who did survive the incident?
Yes, so the driver of the Cadillac and the driver of the Ford Fusion sustained life-threatening injuries. Everybody else sustained minor injuries. So the Cadillac was occupied by the driver only. The Ford Fusion was occupied by 3 passengers total, that's including the driver. And the Nissan Altima had 4 passengers, including the driver.
And the victim who passed away was a passenger in the Ford Fusion?
She was sitting in the front passenger of the Ford Fusion. Yes, ma'am.
Could the driver who ran the stop sign face any charges, and if so, can you talk about that?
Not yet. It's too early in the investigation. Obviously, we work with the medical examiner's office. We wait for toxicology reports. We speak to witnesses, locate any videos, any evidence that's at the scene. So there's a lot of work to be done before we conclude that there are any charges.
Without divulging information, are you able to share what witnesses said to y'all?
Not at this time.
Are any of the passengers that have serious injuries, any of the pediatric?
I'm not sure, honestly, whether the ages of, at this time, I don't know the ages of all people involved.
Were people wearing seatbelts?
I don't know at this time, but we'll find out.
And you may sound like a broken record, but I'm going to ask anyway, do we have any juvenile victims?
I believe we do. I just don't know the ages.
Gotcha.
Okay.
What message would you have to drivers? You said this was the 57th fatality so far this year.
Correct. Obviously, the message that we have from the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office is to obey all traffic laws, make sure you don't drive distracted, and obviously slow down. So we see there's a lot of issues with that in reference to the traffic fatalities. And don't drink and drive.
What's the speed limit, if you know, on this road?
I don't know at this time, but I would assume it's 40 miles per hour.
Gotcha.
Do you think speeding was a factor in this crash?
No, running the stop sign was a factor. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.